One. Welcome back to Hoops HD, everybody. It is that time of the year again. It
Woohoo!
is
Woo!
championship week, video
Yeah.
notebook time.
Yes, yes, it is week. This is one of the biggest, most spectacular shows that we do all year, is it not?
I think
The
of all our
best.
shows, this may
Yeah,
this actual one tonight may be my favorite because this is what we call our day zero show.
the
Um,
day zero show, and the reason it's day zero, we would call it the championship week eve show, but day zero just sounds much better.
uh, This is our championship week video notebook. What we do during these video notebooks is I think we have kind of four different sections of the shows. Number one, we will do some news and notes, which we're not going to do tonight because tomorrow night we're going to be doing a full Hoops HD report and cover all the news and notes
Yeah,
outside of the conference tournaments. We're then going to review all conference tournament games that were played that day. We're also not doing that tonight because there weren't
right,
any. We're
right.
going to preview.
We had some eliminations yesterday, but we're not going to do those either. I don't think because they're on the Hoops HD survival board.
Right, and we will at the end of the show. We are going to go to the survival board. We'll update that at the end of the show. We will preview
Yeah,
tomorrow's conference tournament games, and we've got a couple little fun things we're going to do at the end of each of these
yeah,
shows as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Sure.
But before we get to any of that, I think we have one of the most important things we need to do. It is one of the most important jobs that I, as
Lock
the
him up,
host
Chad. Lock
of
him up.
No, 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 we're not doing that this year. Remember, I decided that we're not doing that.
Lock him up.
No, Chad,
Oh, wow. Oh, boy.
Chad.
That looks scary.
Okay,
it's official,
Dark.
locked in.
Wow.
Chad. All right, David. This is all Joe Lenardi's fault because of the bracket bunker. Your friend, David. Would you tell Chad that Joe Lenardi's not actually locked in a bunker?
We got look at this place
Look at
we
the
got for you
daylight
this
you
year.
got.
And check this out. I got an interior
Inside the damn thing.
I got an interior review for you too here, Griggs. Let's see if I get that to work. Check that out.
Wow.
There you are, already locked in.
Wow. Got a
Wow.
bench to sleep on and everything.
A bench to sleep on. Yeah, and a corner to piss in. What a place.
Exactly. If we remember, we may even get you some food here. David Griggs is officially locked in the puppet bunker. He will be let out maybe by the time we have a national champion, if we remember this year. Sometimes we don't remember.
Yeah. Last year it wasn't until May that someone came and let me out.
But on that note, time to take a look at tomorrow's games. It is ASUN tournament first round game, and this is the whole reason of our entire show. We are here to preview the 7-8 and the 9-10 games of the ASUN tournament. Florida Gulf Coast versus Queens and Kennesaw State versus Jacksonville.
Yeah. Oh, what a night of action we have. And the thing is, like, if one of the things that you got to keep in mind is that these teams, all four of them in action tomorrow night, I suppose, are just 11 wins away. 11 wins away from winning the national championship. They need to win the 4 games to win this tournament. They will presumably need to win a first 4 game in Dayton, and then they need to win the 6 games after that. So for 2 of these teams, guys, that dream is going to die tomorrow.
Dorman, do you got picks for these 2 games?
Sure. I'll start with the Florida Gulf Coast and the Queens game. If I don't want to give picks away here, but for the tournament, yeah. But one of the teams with the higher seed next to their name that I don't mind so much is Florida Gulf Coast. They have a coach, Pat Chambers. Most of you remember from Boston, and then more notably from Penn State. He's a defensive first guy, and defense usually wins in March. So if he can get this traveling defense to go with him, probably to Stetson if he can beat Queens tomorrow, that could be a very good game. So I'm taking Chambers' Florida Gulf Coast team in the first game. In the second game, it's tight. Kennesaw State was last year's incredible story. Just awesome. Amir Abdul-Rahim was the coach. He last year he got a different job this year. Moved up to he's now the head coach at South Florida, doing another incredible, amazing job. And it'll probably be another story this March. But he took a lot of the talent with him, and not much stayed in Kennesaw. So they're rebuilding. Jacksonville, as you can see, with the worst seed in the tournament, didn't have a great year. But both teams now have a chance to, go on a run and see what they can do. I'm going to pick Kennesaw State in that one as well.
Okay, just a quick note: that Kennesaw Jacksonville game will be played at Eastern Kentucky, so they could play there the winner could play the next night. Same thing, Gulf Coast Queens game will be played at Stetson, so the
And
winner could play there for the following night.
yeah,
I'm agreeing with Dorman on Gulf Coast. I'm taking the Jacksonville very mild upset in the other game.
yeah, I think I'm in on Gulf Coast. The other one's kind of a toss up. I do want to say that we have confirmed with both Stetson and Eastern Kentucky, the local fire department and fire marshals are on hand for crowd control reasons tomorrow, expecting larger than normal crowds for these knockout games.
Real quick, we're going to do this every time we start a new conference. Let's do this tonight at the ASUN. I'll go through both of you real quick here. Your picks to win this tournament at the end of the day. Let's go back, Dorman. Let me go to you again.
A quick little note here: the ASUN reseeds after the quarterfinals. So the strongest seed, the lowest seed, one here, Eastern Kentucky, moves on. They get to play the worst seed left remaining in the tournament, all at the home sites of the better seed. So Eastern Kentucky will get to play on their home court if they keep advancing. I'm going to go chalk here. If I went on, I've had the Stetson team in my head all year, and I think the Hatters have a real good chance to make a move. But I'm going to go with the chalk. I'm going to go with the Colonels, Eastern Kentucky, to beat Stetson in the final.
Griggs?
I am on board with that too. Up until about a week ago, my pick would have been Lipscomb, but after seeing Eastern Kentucky go there and win, I'm going to go with EKU. And when you look at, they do have home court advantage, and when you look at what they've done, they are unbeaten in conference play, I believe, on their home court. They do have a few losses. UT Martin got them there. I want to say they're not unbeaten at home for the year, but they've beaten everyone in this conference on their floor. And I just think that continues. And they're actually playing really well right now.
I'm going to go the other way, that I am taking that Lipscomb team to win this event. The good news for them is I don't think they're going to have to play Eastern Kentucky. I see Eastern Kentucky getting upset in that semifinal. Probably
Really?
by Austin
Wow.
P. But whoever wins that Austin P. North Florida game, I think upsets EKU. Lipscomb ends up taking this thing at the end of the day after winning a road game at Stetson in the semifinals there.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's a good pick. This is Lipscomb's
I like
been
it.
a team that's been kind of disappointing this year, and here's a chance for them to show out and win the bid anyway.
In fact, I'll throw one more little one out there. Maybe this is more for tomorrow night. I wouldn't be surprised if Lipscomb got a home semifinal also. I would not be surprised if Gulf Coast could go to Stetson and win the game, because Gulf Coast has had some life, including beating Florida Atlantic this year, if you remember. So
Yeah. Oh, we remember.
On that note, that's it for our preview for tomorrow. We're going to do a quick update of our Hoops HT survival board that we'll do every day. This is just kind of our starting point here. If you go up to the website, the conference tournament brackets are all up there if you want to look at them and print them out. Also up there is our NCAA tournament survival board, and this is a service we do for the NCAA tournament selection committee.
Yes,
correct?
for the NCAA tournament selection committee, we've confirmed year after year that they do have the internet at the hotel and in the room, which means they can access this board. People say this board isn't in the room. Of course it is. They have the internet. They can just log on and look at it.
And if they're looking what to do here, this tells them what to do. Teams
Yes,
that are in
it tells
blue
exactly
are
what to do.
locks. Are locks. So, for example, a team like Duke, if they're wondering what to do with Duke, what do they do?
Well, they select them. They have to.
Okay.
They're a lock.
If they're thinking about maybe selecting Central Arkansas,
No. You don't want to do that. They've been eliminated.
okay.
And see, they would not know this if we did not provide this service.
If they're thinking about giving an at-large bid maybe to UMass out of the A10 there, well, they may have to consider UMass should they win the auto bid, but they do not get considered for an at-large bid.
Right. Yeah, they don't. So
Now, what if they're sitting there thinking about Iowa?
well, that Iowa is interesting because that's going to be, and this is where we leave it up to the committee. We don't do all the work for them. We will basically respect whatever decision they make on Iowa.
And as teams get eliminated, we do cross them off this board as well. We are down to 333 teams right now heading into championship week. We will update this every night. That's going to be 68 by the time we get to selection Sunday, or right after the field comes out. The entire NCAA tournament, we go from 68 down to one team. We over the next 2 weeks go from 333 down to 68. Way more teams are having their season ends these next 2 weeks, which is one of the reasons I love championship week.
Oh,
honestly.
yeah. It's the best. And
Uh,
we will be watching the games tomorrow and recapping them for you tomorrow. So
One more thing to get to. Griggs, we decided to do a little something fun this year here. We
yes.
like to always do something fun at the end of our shows here. And we
Mhm.
decided to come up with, you and I were discussing, we decided that we want to come up with Hoops HD's top 10 things that you can see at a college basketball
Yes.
games.
And like the Atlantic 10, like the Big 10, there are 14 things in our top 10 that you can
Oh,
do.
we had a little problem. We have 14 days. It's only top 10. Like we do in our under the radar top 10 list, we have four
Yeah.
honorable mentions. So these first four
Yeah.
nights, when things just get geared up, we'll start with a couple honorable mentions. These are after the intense voting that was done by nobody. These are
Yeah.
the four things that did not quite make our top 10. But let's start out with one of our honorable mentions here for tonight. Well, maybe a little drum
Yeah.
roll on this one too here.
Yeah.
Honorable mention, top 10 thing to see at a college basketball game. The Hornet
Ah,
Nest Trophy.
Yes.
Wow.
This was
seems a little low.
beautifully. Yes. So this is one of the most coveted trophies, not just in college basketball, but I think of all of sports. You hear about the Stanley Cup, you hear about the World Cup, the Remy Trophy, which is lost, but that's the previous World Cup, and you hear about this pile of crap, whatever it's called, the Hornet Nest Trophy. And what is so amazing about this trophy is that a lot of things had to happen for it to come into existence. First, someone had to design it, and upon completing it, think, yes, that looks good. That looks like a good trophy. And then both Davidson and Charlotte, even more amazingly, both agreed. Like, yeah, that looks pretty good. So when you think about how amazing it is that this trophy is in existence and everything that had to happen in order for it to be there, this is one of the landmarks, is it not? That in college basketball, it's got to be on your bucket list. You got to go visit this trophy, touch it. I wouldn't lick
I
it or
wouldn't touch
anything
it.
like that. I
wouldn't touch
wouldn't. I
it.
wouldn't. It's not like the Stanley Cup. I wouldn't drink out of this thing. Yeah.
Can't believe it's
Uh,
not one or two.
I'll tell you that tells you what a strong top
Strong
10 we have. That
list.
this one did
Yeah.
not this trophy did not even make the top 10.
Yeah.
We'll have more of these every night here, but let's go ahead and pull the screen share down here real quick. Any other final thoughts as we head to championship week, Dorman?
Chad, you stole mine a couple of seconds ago.
Oh,
I'll
sorry.
be real quick. These are the best 2 weeks of the year, of the calendar. College basketball takes center stage. But for the next 2 weeks, it's really our under the radar teams and conferences that take center stage. And these coaches and these programs and these student athletes work just as hard and put as much or more time in than the kids at Kentucky and Arizona and Duke. And it's great to see them get the attention, and not just the ones that win and get to go to tournament, but watch the games like we just previewed this week. The Atlantic Sun is going to get going. The SoCon is going to get going. It's fantastic basketball. It's great coaching. Kids put everything on the line. It's the end of the road for a lot of them. That seniors are going to be saying goodbye and everything. It's just emotional, and it's incredible theater. So I just can't wait to get this going tomorrow. It's fantastic. And here comes college basketball at its finest.
Absolutely. Griggs, you want to finish off the show?
My final thought was a little bit too similar to that. I'll just go ahead and say that one of the things that makes this so great is if you're still playing, you can still win it. Nobody's left off. No one's voted off. I mean, there is the selection process, and there are teams that won't be selected. But regardless of who you are, regardless of what your profile is, if you're one of those 333, you get to keep playing until somebody beats you, and that's what makes this so fun.
Absolutely. We will be back again tomorrow night with our regular Hoops HD report, which at the last 10, 15 minutes of that will be our Championship Week video notebook. It will be a combo show tomorrow night, so it won't be quite this short. But on behalf of David Dorman, David Griggs, we'll be back tomorrow night, every single night from here on out until the night before Selection Sunday. So we will talk to you again many, many times very, very soon.
Yeah.